Welcome to Hooked on Football, your go-to podcast for everything NFL. Whether you're a lifelong fan or just getting into the game, we're here to break down the action on and off the field. Each week we'll dive into the latest news from around the league, including game recaps, picks and predictions, analysis and insights. From injury reports to power rankings and everything in between, we'll keep you connected to all things NFL. In order to keep up with us, please like, share, subscribe, and follow, because once you're hooked on football, there's no going back.
Well, Week 11 of the 2024 NFL season is into the history books. Some breaking news today. The Jets fired their general manager, so they're completely cleaning house.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting firing to me. A lot of his draft picks were very solid. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall,
Yeah.
McDonald.
I guess we put it that way. Yeah, he has drafted pretty well.
That and all the other moves he's made, bringing Rodgers in, trading for Devontae, everyone was on board and thought those were great moves when they did them.
Yeah.
But obviously the GM's
But they've been
the blame.
The record is their record since he took over. I don't remember what it was, but it was
not good.
Abysmal. It was rough. So it makes sense. They obviously need like something drastically different there. So it makes sense, but thinking about it from that standpoint, it's like a little bit weird.
I mean, offensive and defensive rookie of the year 2 years ago. Sauce has been pretty poor since then, really. But
yep, I've hadn't watched a ton of Jets until this year and really noticed.
I saw a stat today that he has 0 interceptions in the last 30-something games.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And I don't even care so much about interceptions because a lot of the good corners don't get them because they don't get targeted.
Right.
But he's getting targeted, and he's just drawing penalties.
Plus, I feel like he was putting up interceptions, or he had interceptions just early in his career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have that. I think Jair's first season he had quite a few. Surtain probably had a bit because there's that period where people are like, oh, they're for real. Now I'm going to avoid them. Like Diggs.
Yeah.
Granted, his coverage
super boomer
also
bust.
kind of sucked, but his coverage got better, and then also because he had 10 picks that year, no one throws to him anymore.
Yeah.
So
Surtain specifically, I think he was more touted coming out of the draft, so they expected him to be pretty good. I think they caught on pretty quick that he was a shutdown corner. Yeah. Never really targeted him a ton, so he hasn't put up huge interception numbers. But
like I said, I don't care about that because you're not going to get them. You're not going to get balls your way if you're too good.
Yeah, fair.
But, yeah, so probably needed move because they need whole new everything there because that place is weird and cursed. Yeah, they need to do a factory reset.
Again.
Right. In other depressing team news, the Giants are benching Daniel Jones for Danny DeVito. I didn't know if I wanted to do the Danny DeVito bit or not.
Oh, got to.
It felt too manufactured at that point. But yeah, after starting the season 2-8, it sounds like they finally gave up on the Daniel Jones project. I saw he was third on the depth chart now.
Yeah, Drew Lock will be the backup.
Yeah,
so that tells you they're really giving up on Daniel Jones because everybody knows Drew Lock he ain't it.
Sure he is. Horsecock clock.
I forgot about that. Remember when Colin Cowherd predicted he was going to win the MVP?
No.
Yeah. What a terrible prediction.
Yeah.
Whatever made you think that?
As that season or?
It was a preseason.
Oh,
preseason prediction.
And you thought as a rookie he was going to?
I don't think it was as a rookie. I think it was his second year. He was projected to be the starter for the season, and he projected. I think it was shortly after Mahomes and whoever the top quarterback in the next draft were. They came in hot and won MVP in their second season. Oh, so he was predicting it to continue with Drew Lock.
He was just going for that crazy prediction that if it hits, he is a genius. If it doesn't, most people that aren't diehard Denver fans are gonna forget that he ever said it.
Right.
But
sounds like the Daniel Jones era is probably over in New York. Heard some reports that Daboll felt like he was coaching for his job, so might as well. Obviously, they're not winning with Jones, so might as well switch it up and try something else.
I wonder if Jones can do the old Sam Darnold thing and go to a better organization and have a little more success.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe more Jared Goff path because I think he's under contract for a while. They're going to have to trade him, so they're probably going to have to attach picks to him, trade him away.
They just signed a big old...
If you put him in a offense like Jared Goff is in, bound to look better than he does with the Giants.
He doesn't have a lot of help over in
New
York. I mean...
Well, he's not proven help.
Soon, Malik will be that guy, and then also Tracy, I think, will be...
Yeah, they got promising rookies.
Yeah. But that doesn't help him since he's sucked the last few years. You got to do something.
Yep. Some other news a little closer to home. Anzalone, Alex Anzalone, linebacker for the Lions, broke his forearm. And Campbell said
that hurts.
He's out 6 to 8 weeks, which the 8 weeks would be divisional round, so they get the first round bye.
Actually, 8 weeks from injury would be wild card. Okay. 9 weeks would be divisional, so odds are they get the bye. So he's got pretty comfortable amount of time. And then even if they don't get the bye, somehow they poop the bed the rest of the season and then end up in a wild card. He should be back for that too.
Yeah. Jack Campbell, second-year linebacker, has been playing really well, so hopefully he can deaden some of the blow there. Start of the season, starter Derek Barnes also out for the season, so their depth has definitely been tested. But Malcolm Rodriguez was kind of the star of Hard Knocks a couple years ago. He's been playing really well too, so they do have some depth. And obviously everybody goes by the next man up motto, but Detroit has proven that they can have success using that strategy. Hutchinson, basically most of their starting linebackers and defensive ends are out or have been out. So.
Right. I was trying to figure out what exactly the injury was because there's 2 bones in your forearm. I never saw specifics. Did he break them both? Was it just one of them?
Yeah, I didn't see either.
Would have been nice to see just to kind of see what to expect, but I couldn't find it anywhere. All I was seeing was just broke his left forearm.
Yeah, same. Yeah, he saw I forget if you could hear the audio or just read his lips, but as soon as the play happened, he told one of his teammates on the sideline it's broke. So, not great. Yeah, all I can find is that it's a forearm fracture. But yeah, regardless, hopefully back for at least the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, barring something weird like surgery going awry.
Plus, I think it was Thomas Davis for the Panthers when they were in the Super Bowl, played with a broken arm. He just put a heavy cast on it. So
yeah, I mean, dudes really play with clubs all the time.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, at this point, you got a playoff spot. So
yeah,
it's crazy stuff would have to happen if they were to lose their playoff spot.
9 wins already.
Let him chill. He'll be back when it matters.
Yeah,
I don't think it's another one of those. I don't think it's going to hurt him too much. That team's too good all around.
Yeah.
In other injury news, Gabe Davis out for season, torn meniscus. He wasn't doing anything, so
yeah,
doesn't matter a ton for the team.
Jaguars also not doing anything.
Right. So pretty inconsequential, but news nonetheless. Some more inconsequential news. Panthers signed former first-round pick Caleb Farley, cornerback.
Yeah, I liked him coming out of that draft. I forget what year it was, but didn't pan out. I think he had some off-the-field issues, so hopefully he's gotten all that straightened out. And anytime you can sign a first-round pick, obviously that's a guy that had talent. And
something's there.
See if he can do anything.
And in same fashion as last week, not a ton of news.
Yeah.
Getting later in the season, there not as much happens.
Now let's get to Pigskin Prophecies, the segment where we unveil our picks for this week's NFL clashes, break down key matchups, analyze the stats, and make our bold predictions. Who will rise to the occasion and who will fall short? We both had a pretty good weeks with our picks. You especially.
Yeah, I made up some ground.
Yeah, nine correct picks. Only one completely incorrect.
Yeah.
4 ties. which brings your record to 45, 26, and 17.
And you'll never guess who stumped me again this week.
Well,
actually, you probably won't, because not a lot of you have seen this already if you're watching right now, because not a lot of people watch. But had you seen past episodes?
Hey, they're coming.
Had you seen past episodes, you'd never guess who stumped me.
Yeah, so your record comes to 45, 26, and 17, winning percentage 60.8.
Not bad, not bad.
I was 8, 4, and 2 on the week. Not terrible. Brings my record to 47, 20, and 21. Percentage 65.34.
Also not bad.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, Thursday night was a fine game. Wasn't as good as I was wanting it to be.
Boring early on.
Yeah.
Neither team was doing much.
It was the 7-3 Commanders at the 7-2 Eagles. Philly was favored in that. We both picked them to cover. They're favored by 3.5. Yeah, it was start of the game. I was like, maybe Washington got this. They came out, scored pretty quick, and then I think they they got a field goal in the first half too. But other than that, it fizzled out real quick, and Philly was nowhere to be found until the fourth quarter. I think.
Yeah.
They had made 2 field goals, missed 2 field goals in the first 3 quarters, and then
what is going on with kickers right now,
dude? So
many of them struggling.
I don't get it. And then I think final 3 possession. Oh, minus the kneel down at the end, but final 3 real possessions were all touchdowns for Philly. So
yeah,
they got it going at the end. But yeah, it ended up being kind of a boring game until that last quarter when Philly really took over.
Yeah, Philadelphia looks like they're definitely the second best team in the NFC right now, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kind of a decent gap, maybe, between the Lions and the Eagles.
Yeah.
I mean, just obviously it could have been a bad day, divisional matchup. So
sure.
Tough, but
also, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Detroit is on a weird level right now.
Yeah, it is strange. Barkley, maybe potential offensive player of the year candidate. Maybe favorite, rather.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for tush-push touchdowns, he'd be dominating pretty much every rushing stat.
Yeah. I think Henry still has the most yards. After Thursday Night Football, Saquon took over, but then I think but it was only by a few yards. Then I think after Ravens played Sunday, I think Derek took it back. But Derek's been slowing down, and I dare say Saquon only looks like he's heating up.
Yeah,
so
looks very good.
The race for Offensive Player of the Year might change up at the end here.
Yeah, definitely coming down to those two as of right now, though.
Nothing against Saquon, but I wanted Derek to get it at 55 years old. Would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But would have been even cooler if he got MVP as an old-ass running back.
Yeah. Daniels
was fine.
Yeah.
He still had his flashes of being that offensive rookie of the year, Daniels, but then that possession was like the first couple plays he threw a pick in the fourth quarter that really took the life out of that game. And then it was very, very lopsided. I think that was that before the final 2 touchdowns? I think that was before the total meltdown. They were still in it, but
unfortunately McLaurin kind of disappeared for that game. Only 10 yards. Eckler was their leading receiver, which
weird.
I don't know. Probably not a great sign when your running back is your leading receiver for the game, but I think the Commanders will be all right, though.
Yeah, no,
they pretty much have a wild card locked up.
Yeah,
we'll see what they do coming down the stretch. But
moving to Sunday, 6-3 Packers at the 4-5 Bears. That was a fine game. We both picked Packers to cover. They were favored by 6.5. They did not. Just eked it out. I guess the only positive I can take away from that is that it looked like the Chiefs.
Yeah, winning on a last-second block field goal.
Yeah, found a way no matter what. But also, it's the Bears; they should have stomped them.
Yeah.
But ended up being Packers' 11th straight win against the Bears. I was seeing
the
online
Bears fans' reaction videos. Funny.
They make my heart happy. I was seeing things saying that was the longest win streak against a team in NFL history, and I was like, no. So I looked it up, and it's far from that, but it is the longest active win streak against another team.
You do own them.
This is true. Right here.
Caleb Williams did seem to play one of his better games.
Yeah, it was
since early in the season, at least. It seemed like he took what the defense gave him a little more.
Yeah,
there was a lot of plays in past weeks I saw where it felt like he had an open guy for short gain, but he tried to wait for a bigger play and ended up getting in trouble. But
yeah, one of the things some of the D linemen talked about after the game is that there was a lot more designed runs than they had put on film, so they weren't expecting that, and but also didn't really know what to expect with a new OC now.
Yeah.
So they caught him off guard on a couple things, and then he made, especially at the end there, he did make a few nice throws, but obviously wasn't enough.
Yeah, for the Packers, a division win on the road is always a good win. Even if it was close, it doesn't matter at the end of the year. Still counts as a win. So
no, it was another one of those. Another similarity between those two games. The Chiefs, the guys on the line said that they, before they went out and blocked it, like, don't worry, we got this, because they had seen a weakness in that protection coverage. Same thing happened with Packers. I guess Saturday night, Bisaccia was telling the special teams guys that he would be surprised if they came out of that game without a blocked field goal because of they noticed Santos had quite the low trajectory on his kicks, and protection hadn't been the best. So,
speak of low trajectory, I do not understand teams settling for a long field goal when you have time left on the clock.
Yeah.
I didn't understand not trying to get some more yards.
I don't know if they did that because they lost yards on the play before and they didn't want to lose more or what. Either way, Eberflus has made a lot of questionable decisions. So
yeah,
I get another thing they said on the sideline. They were kind of expecting them, like the special teams guys were expecting them to run it once more to get a few yards.
Yeah, I did see that.
And knew that if they did get a few more yards, it was going to be a bit harder to block because they noticed. I don't know if it was just in his stats or on film, but over 45, he was missing a lot more and getting a lot more close to being blocked than if they were 45 or less. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you get closer, it seems like the kicker is going to put a little bit more under it, get a little bit more loft on it, if you will. But
so I'm happy about it, but also didn't feel like a win at the end of the game. He was over for it, and Convaggio was still pretty bummed after that game. It was not what I was wanting at all, but whatever.
Next, we had the 4-5 Rams at the 3-7 Patriots. Rams are favored by 4.5 in that one. We both picked them to cover, which they did.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford, first 4 touchdown, 0 interception game since 2021.
Oh, wow. I saw he did that, but I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. Puka and Kupp, each over 100 yards. Kyron also looked solid. No touchdown in this one, I think.
Yeah, didn't Pooker and Kupp.
Pooper Kupp.
Pooper Kupp. Puka and Cooper, didn't they have 200, what was it, 226 yards and 3 touchdowns, which was, just a little bit less than Jamar had in that one game?
Yeah, right. Almost as good.
Uh-huh.
But actually, the Rams are looking like they have a chance to maybe win that division. All four teams are only one game separating all of them. Arizona leads by 1 game.
6-4. Arizona's 6-4, and then everyone else is 5-5.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tight race.
Yeah,
I feel like
Rams might be my pick for that division. Actually, the way they're playing.
Yeah,
them are Cardinals.
Yeah.
But yeah, Drake May looked solid for New England, but like we've said before, doesn't have much around him.
Yeah,
so.
He's looked solid, but hard to do much over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch a ton of the game, so I don't have a ton to say about it. And then next we had the 2-7 Browns at the 3-7 Saints.
I saw none of this game.
No, they were favored by 1, and
the Saints, right?
Yeah, Saints. I just feel like that was obvious because we were talking about the Browns.
You're right. Only favored by 1, though.
Yeah, and obviously they covered. We both had picked that. And, yeah, I guess Jameis is still sucking. I don't know.
Yeah, he had like almost 400 yards.
Did he?
Which, yeah, he had, what was it?
They just couldn't
395
score?
yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, and they only scored 14 points.
Weird.
Kind of weird. The Taysom Hill game, though.
Yeah. We had talked.
Right after we said he had done nothing.
We had talked that day, probably during this game, or it was during the 4 o'clock games, and we hadn't seen that yet, but I forget how Taysom Hill came up, and I was talking about how he's so versatile and does all this stuff, and then we were both like, well, had been. He hasn't really done anything this year. And then later that night
little did we know.
Saw that stat and sent it to him. Meanwhile,
yeah,
he's going off. But, yeah, and MVS continues to, those last 2 weeks, putting up numbers.
Yeah.
I like that, man. I don't know why.
The long ball is his strength for sure.
Yeah. When I looked, I grabbed him on fantasy because your boy's hurting. And I checked real quick.
Pickup, last 2 weeks.
He had, I picked him up after that other week.
Oh.
He had 1 catch for 71 yards and a touchdown. I was like, no, I'll take it. And he ended up with a little bit more than that, but yeah.
Just a side note, Jerry Jeudy actually had a big game, 142 yards and a touchdown.
I didn't think he could do it.
Yeah, so seems to be Jameis's number 1 target. Wild, all those stats combining for only 14 points is wild, but
yeah, I'd be interested to see that game, see what happened there.
After that one, we had during that one, we had the 2-7 Raiders at the 3-6 Dolphins. Miami was favored by 7.5 in that one. I picked Miami to cover, which they did. You had Miami winning, but Raiders covering. Solid game for Miami.
Yeah,
Tua, terrible team.
Tua looked good. Apparently,
no mistake free.
Apparently, you don't need a brain to play football. That's all we learned there because he doesn't have one, and he still played well.
Only bits of it.
Yeah, a little scrambled up, lobotomized. But
big tight end game. Jonnu Smith
and
Brock Bowers both went over 100 yards. Bowers also had a touchdown. Miami.
Bowers knew was good though.
Yeah,
Jonnu Smith. What?
Right. Miami might be able to make a run for a wild card.
Maybe. Denver's
it's
pretty thin down there. Oh, I forget the 3 that I have in wild card spots. I don't think any of. I think it's those 3. I think it's pretty locked up without being locked up. I don't see any of them falling below any of these guys,
especially after Cincinnati lost again.
Yeah, I think they're the only one that could sneak in.
Yeah, same. So. But at this point of the season, you kind of are what your record says you are.
Mm-hmm.
They're, I don't know, Burrow's putting up MVP-like stats, so is Jamar Chase.
He's on pace for like almost 4,700 yards, 42 touchdowns, and like 7 picks.
Yeah.
That's a nice year.
Yeah, it is.
But poor dude's that's like MVP, but being on a crummy team, he's not even going to get looked at.
Votes with that record.
Nope. And then meanwhile, up in Detroit, I think there was like sort of a game going on there.
Depends on which fan base you ask.
It looked like maybe a college team was there. The Jaguars at the Lions, 8-1. Obviously, Detroit was favored by 13.5. Jacksonville had
played everyone else close.
Had played everyone close, so I was like 13.5. They could probably cover that. So I had picked them to cover, Detroit to win. But they did not. I'm pretty sure it ended up being like a 65-point spread.
52-6.
Yeah, Jordan had Detroit covering. Yeah, they don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah, was a kind of wild game to watch. I mean, 7 offensive possessions with the starters, 7 touchdowns. That's unheard of.
I saw a post on, I forget, Instagram, Facebook, and it said, you asked for it, Jack Fox highlights, and then it was Jack Fox getting ready to take a snap to hold for the field goal for an extra point.
Yep, didn't do much this Sunday, but maybe best punter in football, but didn't need him this week.
Nope.
Yeah, Lions look like they're unquestionably the best team in football right now, even if I am biased.
Yeah, I don't think it takes bias to say that.
Yeah, well, obviously everyone expected their offense to be tops in the league coming into the year, but their defense has been very good also.
I didn't realize they hadn't given up a multiple passing touchdown game yet.
Oh, really? I didn't see that either. But yeah, I mean, they don't really have any weaknesses.
No.
Goff followed up his 5-interception game with a perfect passer rating, 158.3. Jameson Williams, second in yards per reception in the league as far as qualified receivers go. So they got their deep ball threat.
Run 28 mile an hour.
Yeah. Amon-Ra, slot merchant.
Yeah.
But, speaking of the defense, Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are 1 and 2 in the league as far as lowest passer rating allowed.
Nice.
Joseph leads by a wide margin. Only 20.5 passer rating against.
Guess I didn't notice McKinney must have let up a bit the last few weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure there's different variations of the stats, but the one I saw from 33rd team said that lowest passer rating allowed by the nearest receiver to said defender. Those two and Surtain were top 3.
Nice.
Yeah. But Lions not the Lions. Jaguars, bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Peterson might last the rest of the season. Probably not much after that.
I mean, there's no point in firing him right now. You're not doing anything, even if you make changes. So
there were some
just hang out
reports or rumors or what have you about Ben Johnson potentially being interested in going to Jacksonville next year, and it kind of being a audition game for him and him being motivated to put up big points. If I were him, I wouldn't want to go there.
No.
But, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is obviously good, and then they have Brian Thomas.
The potential's there.
A couple decent young running backs, but, yeah. He's going to have his pick of the positions, most likely.
Yeah.
And hopefully he chooses to stay in Detroit.
I mean, that would be good for Detroit.
I would be very surprised, but, hey, if the Lions are willing to pay him head coach money,
sure,
maybe you're willing to stay in a
I guess I don't know
good situation.
How does coach salary work?
I mean, there's no salary cap. It's just all whatever the
ownership
wants to pay. So, and all the NFL owners have enough money to pay the coaches whatever they want.
It's true. So, who is their owner now? Why can't I remember?
Sheila Ford-Hamp.
Yep. Yeah. That's about it with them. They stomped them.
46-point loss, worst in franchise history for the Jaguars.
I saw that
only
too.
Surpassing, I think it was a 44-point loss to the Lions.
Oh, yeah. Back in the 90s, wasn't it? Like 95 or something.
Yeah, something like that. And then 2 years ago, Lions played the Jaguars. I was actually at that game, and Lions won 40-14, I think it was. So they just stay dominating the Jaguars.
Well,
understandable.
Out in the wild, Lions are cooler than Jaguars.
That's true.
So, and then we went down to Nashville. Vikings 7-2 at the 2-7 Titans. Minnesota was favored by 5.5. We had both picked them to cover, and they did. That was another one I didn't.
More a testimony to the Titans' state than how we feel about the Vikings.
But absolutely. I feel like probably 20 of the teams I would pick to cover a 5.5 point spread against them.
Yeah, not great.
No. I got nothing for that game. I didn't see any of it.
Yeah, I didn't see much. Obviously, Minnesota just keeps on winning.
I have Jones in one of my leagues, and he didn't seem to do much, so I don't know who won that game for them.
Darnold had a solid game, but their defense, I feel like, was the story. Kind of pretty much shut down Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised at this point if Minnesota made any kind of run in the playoffs, but they're definitely going to be in.
Unfortunately.
Darnold, 8 wins for first time in his career, so good for him.
Good for him.
He'll get a contract somewhere and probably be a starter somewhere next year. But
he'll go back to regular Darnold, and it'll be really funny.
Well, we won't care because he won't be in Minnesota.
That's true.
But, no run game like you mentioned in that game.
Yeah.
So
looks like I sent. Oh wait, did I give you Jones? Or did I give Trenton Jones?
No, you gave me Jones. It's the first week I started him, and he did nothing.
Well, got rid of him at the right time.
And Tyreek finally had a touchdown, and I had him on my bench. So good work. But I won, so who cares?
And then we had the 7-3 Ravens at the 7-2 Steelers.
Yeah,
Baltimore
good
was
game.
Yeah, it was. Baltimore was favored by 3. I had picked Pittsburgh to win. You picked Baltimore to win and cover. Obviously, Steelers ended up winning that one. They are good.
Keep proving me wrong.
Yeah, they're good.
They're very good.
I'm not going to say it yet, but I think soon I'm going to be saying that they're my favorite team in the AFC, as in how good they are, not what I like.
Yeah, I got you.
All around they're good. Russell's playing good, so Pickens is a monster.
Yep.
Najee's playing well. Defense is great.
Coach of the year.
Candidate,
at the very least. Tomlin should finally have a chance at winning one. And Lamar struggles versus the Steelers. 1-4. Missed some games.
Mike
because of
Tomlin's
injuries,
his daddy.
Yeah. Wait, actually?
Yeah. Yeah, but also that's kind of been Lamar.
Yeah. Playing the Commanders the week before, Jaden Daniels, kind of Lamar Jackson light, might have been good prep for the Steelers coming into this game.
Sure.
But yeah, Steelers are legit. Their run game is solid.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, Pickens seem to have a good
Wilson's
connection.
moonball is back.
Yeah. And then their defense is easily top 10.
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't heard many people talk about it, but the Ravens' defense is really not good. Their pass defense is among the worst in the league.
I've heard it talked about actually a bit on NFL Network and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I know I saw them discussing if it talking about whether or not it was an issue, and most of the consensus was that it was, but I don't remember who it was. A former player was acting like, no, just lean into what their strength is, and that offense will carry them. And then I was like, hey, that's never happened ever.
They have the worst pass defense in the league as far as yards per game.
Yeah.
They're behind the Jaguars only by a little bit.
Ever won a Super Bowl with the worst pass defense or even a low-rated defense? It's, that's a saying for a reason.
Yeah.
So I think I don't have high hopes for Baltimore down the stretch.
Yeah, and speaking of kicker struggling, like I said earlier, with Justin Tucker, man, he
what the heck
fell off.
No longer the most accurate kicker in NFL history.
Yeah, who passed him? I saw.
Well, did he pass him, or did
Tucker fall
back behind him?
Both. I forget who it was.
Eddie Pinero.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kicker for the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've been so bad, I didn't realize they had such a great kicker.
Yeah, same. I wonder what the qualifications are for that because Jake Bates has yet to miss a field goal in his career.
I think it was Jake Bates. This is first.
He was actually, I didn't realize this when we recorded last week, he was in Texans training camp and got cut. So got the game-winning field goal against them last week. Pretty cool story.
But this is his first.
But yeah, his first year as a active.
I think it was. There was you had to have so many attempts to.
Yeah. He was not qualified.
But even not. I forget what it was. Panero had 100-some attempts, or makes, and then a few more attempts. But Tucker's was like 461 attempts, and he's made 411. Like,
that's crazy.
That's a lot of kicks he's made.
Yeah, it is. That's crazy work.
But also, I can't imagine him missing 50 field goals just from all the times I have watched him.
10 of them are this year.
Yeah, it's true.
But moving on, unless you had something else to say about that game, the 4-6 Colts traveled to the Meadowlands to take on the 3-7 Jets. New York was favored by some miracle, and by 4 points.
Yeah,
you picked with your heart again.
I don't even know if it's that or just like
it doesn't make sense
because it doesn't make sense. Like why?
Yeah,
figure it out. And also I didn't like Indy, but I didn't, and I don't know that it would have changed it. I didn't realize that Richardson was coming back to start. Cause I feel like I said, I don't know if it would have changed it. I would have thought more about it because they always have that. Everyone has like that weird extra surge when they're first coming back to start or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, the Jets threw it away right at the last second. They lost by like 1. It was like 28-27 on a Indy touchdown in the last like 30, 40 seconds. But yeah, I'm hoping that going forward I can get past the logic of them being so bad and just start picking against them.
Did they play this week?
Nah, it's a bye.
Oh, okay, well, I guess you won't pick them this week finally.
Nope.
Yeah, the Indianapolis has one of the worst passing defenses in the league, and the Jets were only 1 of 4 on passes over 10 yards. Not great. Richardson played pretty well.
Yeah.
Made some big plays. He's one of those weird quarterbacks where he like makes like shockingly good throws and then shockingly terrible throws.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I don't remember him
doing. He struggles with the touch passes, the short passes, but he obviously has the arm.
I felt like last year his first 4 games, then he got hurt. Like he only looked good.
Yeah.
And then it's been a rough year for homeboy so far.
Yeah.
But he played that entire game and didn't ask to sit out one time. Yes.
Must have got in shape when he had that time off.
Took a couple weeks. Got on that treadmill.
Yep. Jets officially done.
Yeah.
Don't need to talk much about them anymore.
Well, mathematically.
Yeah. Has Rodgers told the fan base to relax yet?
No. I think deep down he knew, because like he just kept like saying the generic shit like they gotta take the loss and whatever, learn from it, whatever the heck, but never. He didn't pull that at all this year. Which because he didn't say anything like that, I'm like, I don't know if they got it.
Makes you wonder how Devontae feels after being traded from the Raiders to the Jets. Not that the Raiders are any better, but
no. I mean, I guess at least he's hanging out with a friend now.
Yeah,
hanging out with Rodgers there and sucking, but
yeah. But he also moved away from the Taco Bell in his house, so
that's
nothing else. He's probably missing that.
They got Taco Bells they got Taco Bells in New York, and guess what?
What?
They got freaking margaritas.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. So
I hate our Taco Bell now.
It is better. But no, I mean, maybe they're just holding out, hoping next year they figure it out with all this new staff. But
yeah,
yeah, they're pretty much cooked this year.
Yeah. Great week of football for me. My Broncos also pulled off a victory. Falcons came into Denver
In a convincing fashion.
Yeah, Denver was favored by 2.5. I went for the anti-jinx pick and picked Atlanta, and it worked. Denver dominated from start to finish, basically.
I had picked them to cover, but I don't think I would have picked them to cover by 30 or whatever they covered by.
Bo Nix officially entered the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation.
Yeah.
And not just me saying that, I did see that going around.
No, and also, like, looking at the stats, I feel like he's got it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have turnovers a ton. What is he?
Not since early in the season.
Yeah, and he threw, like, I think 4.
Yeah, first quarterback since 2000 with 18 or more touchdowns and 2 or fewer turnovers in a 9-game span.
Yeah.
That's impressive. He's first in passing touchdowns among rookie quarterbacks and second in yards, only a little bit behind Daniels.
Yeah. I think if I remember right, he passing and rushing, I think he had like 24, and then Daniels was second with like 17. So
overall touchdowns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like pretty decent gap. Enough of gap.
Plus the record is good enough, at least at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are
6
they now?
6-5. Only one game worse than in the win column than Washington right now.
Yeah.
Denver hasn't had their bye yet, but yeah. First rookie in NFL history also with 80% completion rate, 4 touchdowns, and 300 plus yards in a game. First ever.
That's crazy. Good game.
Also, you mentioned the stats, so here all of them are.
Yeah.
Only rookie quarterback in the class with multiple wins over teams above 500.
Nice.
So.
Yeah. No, I was looking at it and I was surprised that I didn't think Daniels deserved that offensive rookie of the year anymore.
Yeah. A lot of time left, but it's definitely between those two.
Yeah. A lot of time left, but one of them's heating up and the other one seems to be slowing down.
Yeah. Defense seemed to be figuring out Daniels a little bit, while Nix seems to be figuring out defenses.
Yeah.
Yep. Fun to watch for me. We were at the draft and I was less than.
Yeah, he wasn't super
less
stoked.
Than excited about picking the 6th quarterback at number 12, but shortly after that, just hearing reports out of Broncos training camp and everything that
he hopped on
Peyton
the wagon pretty quick.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about it. So.
Yeah. Obviously, dude was phenomenal in Oregon.
Yeah.
But I was interested to see how that would translate to NFL.
Also, a lot of draft experts get caught up on quarterback age, and he's an older quarterback coming out, but obviously good playing experience but at also, 2 top tier.
Who cares? Because dudes play until they're 40.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to worry about because you're worried about
running
a
back,
guy 15 years down the road. When why not just worry about he's going to be on rookie contract for 4 or 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Worry about that span and then go from there.
Nah, if you don't want a 24-year-old running back, sure.
Right.
But quarterback, you got a lot of time.
Especially if they have wear and tear, a lot of carries and whatnot, but because they wear down a lot quicker. But Denver's defense also looking very good. Top 10 in just about every category.
Yeah.
Surtain, clearly best cornerback in the NFL. Atlanta, though, I don't know what happened to them. Bijan Robinson only 35 yards. Cousins.
Maybe that's just the defense.
Yeah.
Maybe they're that good. But yeah, they had their way. They were up so much. You ended up turning that one off, and we watched the other games that were on.
Yeah, last few years, anytime I've turned off a Broncos game, it's not because we're way in the lead.
No. And the same thing with the Lions, because we did the same thing with the Lions.
Yeah. Yes, it was good, relaxing Sunday of football.
Then we missed the Hendon Hooker premiere, which only threw like 37 yards.
He's played in a couple games already this year because they've
I hadn't
sent their starters to the bench in a few fourth quarters. But, yeah, he hasn't. I mean, obviously you're taking all the weapons out too.
Yeah.
Bringing
and at that point you're running your 4-minute
Yeah.
The offense usually just burning clock, so a lot of running. I think
basically,
he only
basically
threw
no
4
starters
times.
out there. I think they had Panay started throughout the game only because they only have so many backup offensive linemen, and they take out the older guys first. But
yeah. And then another game that was a good game, fun to watch. The 4-5 Seahawks at the 5-4 49ers. San Francisco was favored by 6.5. We both had picked Seattle to cover, but we did not think they would win. But yeah, that was a good game. Metcalf was making some nice plays, and then Geno.
Yeah, quite the final drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, for San Francisco, it looks like they're on that famous Super Bowl loss hangover.
Yep.
They've already have 3 losses in the division after leading in the final 2 minutes. That's rough.
Yeah, that is rough.
No, I was really hoping for a Lions 49ers playoff game, Lions to get revenge, but now it's looking more likely that it'll be a revenge game towards the end of the regular season when they match up. Maybe the Lions can officially eliminate them.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're likely falling to 5-6 this week because for whatever reason they don't play well against the Packers in the regular season.
Yeah. And it's in Green Bay. So.
Postseason, they, I guess, own Matt LaFleur, but regular season he's undefeated.
One of those strange storylines.
Yeah. Weird. But, yeah, I guess I don't remember. Was McCaffrey much of a factor that game? Is he not having that comeback everyone was hoping for?
Just under 100 all-purpose yards.
Okay.
So not the elite McCaffrey we're used to.
Numbers.
But, I mean, they still have there was no Kittle this week, no Ayuk for the season. So
I forgot.
Short some guys. But they sit in last place in the NFC West, which I don't think anyone saw that coming, even if anybody predicted them to have a Super Bowl hangover. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then we had the
maybe my favorite
game of the week. Yeah, the no longer undefeated Chiefs traveled to Buffalo to take on the 8-2 Bills, who were favored by 2.5. And
I picked them to cover.
You did, which covered by quite a bit. Was it?
Yeah.
Was it 11?
9. I think it was 21-30.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of what anyone who's really been watching was thinking, like, Chiefs aren't.
They were not as good as their record.
No. And finally caught up to him.
Yep.
Josh had I think he had a turnover, but played very well.
Mm-hmm.
Cook played well. It was a good game. It was tight till the end there, and then they got that cushion.
Yeah, I mentioned during the game the Bills did a few things that usually lead to a loss, but they fought through
overcame them.
Pull it out. And I loved that they didn't tempt the coin toss, didn't tempt giving the ball back to Mahomes. They went for the win. 1972 Dolphins perfect record remains intact. Only perfect team. I don't know. I feel like it might take a little pressure off KC, but I feel like their main goal anyway was the three-peat.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done that. So.
Yeah, I don't think that...
At least in the Super Bowl era.
I mean, the players might take some pressure off a few of the guys who get caught up in that crap, but as an organization and head coach, I don't think Reed was caught up in that at all. He's a little too seasoned and smart to worry about that undefeated thing. He was likely just taking it day by day. But there are definitely going to be guys that might play a little more loose now.
Yeah. So a good win for Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things because they've beaten Kansas City in the regular season before.
Yeah.
Got to show they can do it in the playoffs.
Although I think they're even now. I think they were like 3-4 going into that. I think Allen's 4-4 against Mahomes now.
Okay. He's never beat him in the playoffs, though, has he? I don't think so.
No. I was trying to remember all the all the playoffs real quick since Mahomes had been there.
Yeah. The Bills, just one of those solid all-around teams. Yeah. Allen's obviously elite. Other than that,
they're just really good everywhere else.
Yeah, no real elite playmaker.
McDermott's
Cooper's
a good
looking
coach.
like the wide receiver one, but like you said, Chiefs it was kind of looking like they were gonna pick up a loss here soon because they can't keep squeaking by like that in the NFL.
No.
Any given Sunday. Chiefs defense seems to be just a little bit worse than they were last year after losing L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah.
Who weirdly has been terrible for the Titans. Yeah. The Titans. But cornerback, their cornerback 2 and then their left tackle seem to be their biggest weaknesses this year.
Mm-hmm.
See if it keeps them from that three-peat.
Hopefully.
We can hope.
And then Sunday Night Football. It was another good game. 4-6 Bengals at the 6-3 Chargers. LA was favored by 1.5. I had picked them to cover. I think you thought Cincinnati was gonna realize that their season was on the line, and
Cincinnati's another one like New York. Like, it doesn't make sense why their record is as bad as it is. But yeah, the Chargers tried to charger.
Yeah, they tried to,
but give it back.
That's one thing I liked a lot was even once they tried to charger and fall into those old habits, they didn't all the way blow it, and then they turned it back around and came and iced the game there at the end. Herbert's looking good.
So good.
Feeling it.
Yep.
Got a lot better coach now than he had ever had, and I think that's probably the main reason the Chargers didn't charger Sunday night was
I'd agree.
Harbaugh and a lot better culture there.
Mm-hmm. Another struggling kicker there, McPherson.
Oh,
was one of the top kickers in the league, struggling right now.
Yep.
The Chargers just another one of those solid all-around teams.
Yeah.
Elite level quarterback. Other than that, they just play the right way. Good culture.
Yeah.
Dobbins healthy finally.
Yep.
Looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and then to wrap it up, we had the 6-4 Texans at the 3-6 Cowboys for the Battle of Texas. Wasn't much of a battle.
No.
Cooper Rush looks pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys look pretty terrible.
Yep.
Houston was favored by 7.5. Easily covered that. Would have been a terrible game if I didn't have fantasy rooting interest and some bets on that game.
Everything.
Mixon with the hat trick, 3 touchdowns. It's impressive.
Yeah, Mixon is good.
Collins had a explosive touchdown play to start the game. They got called back, but he looked very solid in his return from his hamstring.
I think so.
Yeah, from his hamstring injury.
Yeah, you benefited a lot from that.
Yeah.
Fantasy-wise, it was tight. He was going against Nico.
And I had Mixon.
Probably pretty bummed after you saw that play.
When I saw the play, I didn't realize
Nico was.
I was going against him, and then at the end of the drive when the Mixon got the touchdown, I went to check the score. I was like, oh, that was about a 20-point swing.
Yeah,
between the yards and the touchdowns.
Probably, yeah, about 20. Yeah,
6, 12, catch 13. Mix all the yards Mixon got. The yards Collins didn't get. At least 20 points.
Yeah. More maybe, but
hard to take much from that game.
No,
Dallas, like
Dallas
you said,
sucks.
not good. They might not win another game.
No, and Houston, unfortunately for them, is going to think they're good again. And luckily though, schedule is favorable the next couple weeks. So
like we've said, they should run away with that division. But
might. Because of that favorable schedule, they might end up with pretty decent record.
Yeah.
Because if I remember right, they got like 2 or 3 pretty easy games coming up. But
I know they play the Jaguars next, I believe. So there's one.
And then they got Titans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they play the Titans twice.
And then, well, yes. But coming up, I think it's Jags, Titans, and then they have a a solid, a tough opponent after that.
Yeah, I remember looking at earlier. They played the Titans twice, Jaguars once, so those 3 easy games. Also played the Dolphins, Chiefs, and Ravens. So
yeah, potentially.
Dolphins, probably those 2 are probably pretty even when both are healthy.
Yeah.
Chiefs and Ravens probably gonna beat the Texans.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so that was that Week 11 recap, which I guess takes us to this week's picks, Week 12. Start out the week with snooze fest. 8-2 Steelers at the 2-8 Browns.
Not as big a spread as I would have
didn't
guessed.
think about that spread until I was about to say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh favored by only 3.5.
At Cleveland, Thursday Night Football, usually low scoring division game. Probably all factored into the spread, but Pittsburgh is by far more than a 3.5 point better team than the Browns.
So that being said, I picked
the Browns
them to
are going
cover
to win by 30.
No, they're definitely covering that.
Yeah.
Although who knows? Maybe Jameis has one of those games.
No, Pittsburgh's defense is very good, so they'll definitely. I guess I shouldn't say shut down the offense because Jameis Winston always puts up stats. But yep, I see Pittsburgh winning that one fairly easily by a touchdown to 10 points.
Yeah.
Next Sunday games, no morning game again. The 8-2 Vikings travel to Chicago to take on the 4-6 Bears. Minnesota favored by 3.5 in that one. I have Minnesota covering. Minnesota obviously has a much better record, but I don't know. Just don't inspire too much confidence in me after watching them basically since the Detroit game.
But I think they can cover 3.5 on
I do too.
Chicago.
I will say I wouldn't be shocked if Chicago pulled out a win, but
no.
But I did pick Minnesota to win and cover that 3.5 point spread. So
they don't seem like the team that's going to come out and play like angry, and then that's a good thing. I feel like they're going to be sad and mad and make more mistakes.
The Bears.
Yeah. So
fair enough.
Yeah. And then likely another snooze fest. The 9-1 Lions at the 5-6 Colts. Detroit favored by 7.5. I guess I shouldn't say snooze fest because I picked Indianapolis to cover. I don't think they're going to just keep scoring 1,000 points. I know they had that rough game against the Texans, but I don't. They're going to cover.
I mean, 5 interceptions and they still found a way to win. So
didn't feel like that. It was obviously a down game, but because of the circumstances, didn't feel like that.
Yeah. I have Detroit covering. A lot of teams, I would probably think this is kind of a trap type game. I just don't feel that way with the Lions this year.
No, it doesn't.
I feel like
they're not falling for it at all.
Between the way that they kind of let off the gas against San Fran in the playoffs last year, left such a terrible taste in their mouth. They're not doing that at all this year.
No.
Plus, other teams or whoever complaining about the Lions disrespecting their opponents and kind of running it up on them, feel like motivates them to do it more because like stop us or shut up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Detroit wins that one big. Next we have the 3-7 Cowboys at the 7-4 Commanders. This one will be an absolute snooze fest.
Yep.
Washington favored by 10.5, second biggest spread of the week.
And I picked them to cover.
Yeah, I also think they cover that easily. We talked enough about Cowboys. Not good.
There's
no running game,
so bad
no
their
run
roof
defense.
is falling apart.
Yeah. You see that guy almost get hit?
Yeah, that is. Oh, get it together, Jerry.
Yeah, that franchise is falling apart, not just the building.
Yeah. But no, Washington covers. I think Jaden has another good game. Remind us why we talked about him for Rookie of the Year. And they'll cover that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got the 9-1 Chiefs going to God, these matchups suck this week.
Poor Panthers, though. Panthers. Chiefs coming off their first win since Christmas. Since Christmas Day.
Their first loss.
Did I say win?
Yeah.
I wish it was their coming off their first win since Christmas,
right.
But no.
Kansas City favored by 11.
I do that every week. I
just
one thing.
You got to fuck it up some way.
I'm good at that.
Done with this. Pack it up. Yeah, Kansas City covers.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even that close.
No.
No. Panthers have shown me
nothing.
Exactly nothing.
Yep.
Although Bryce Young's looked decent since he came back, but they have
doesn't matter.
Nothing around him.
No.
Kansas City's going to be pissed off. Yeah, true. Hubbard.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about that game.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have the 2-8 Titans taking on the 6-4 Texans. We already said in the recap of last week's game, should be easy game for Houston.
Yeah.
They're favored by 8.5. I think they cover.
I didn't have them covering.
Okay.
I do have them winning, but I think Tennessee covers that. Yeah, not a lot to say there. Levis isn't good. And we've got the 4-6 Bucks going to New Jersey to take on
so annoying
the 2-8 Giants. Tampa is favored by 5.5. I picked them to cover.
Yeah, they should be favored by more.
I don't know if you guys have seen Twins, but Danny DeVito doesn't look like he can play quarterback, so I don't know why they're starting him.
Not going to be great.
So that's going to be rough. So yeah, Tampa going to cover.
Agreed. I don't think it's even particularly close. I think Evans is supposed to be back this week.
Is he?
So yeah,
good.
Which is good for Tampa. They're going to be able to make a push for that division, maybe.
Being at 4-6 with what the rest of the NFC looks like, I don't know that they get a wild card spot, but it would be fun.
The Buccaneers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else is in their division? Panthers, Saints, and
don't ask me. Apparently, I'm an idiot.
Who's leading that division? The Falcons.
Falcons. Yep.
Only 6-5, so only 2 games back.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the Falcons already beat Tampa twice. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Tampa Bay is more or less 3 games down, which is rough. But if Atlanta keeps playing like they did last week, Tampa Bay, like you said, gets Evans back.
Damn, maybe they played twice and lost both of those.
Yeah, they played twice in the first seven games. The second one, Godwin and Evans were out. So
speaking of
is what it is, but
divisional games, apparently this is the first time it took until week 11 for a team to have their first divisional game, and it happened twice. I forget what the other team was, but that was Chicago's first divisional game. I don't remember what the other one was, but yeah, there was 2. So they were kind of on the opposite. They had theirs done early.
Yeah. I knew about the Chicago one because we mentioned last week that they hadn't even played an NFC North game yet.
The entire remainder of their season is NFC North teams.
Yeah, not great for them.
No. But, yep. And then next up, we got the 3-8 Pats going to the 4-6 Dolphins. Miami's favored by 7. Miami seems to have their mojo back a little bit with Tua playing well. I think they cover that.
Okay. I actually picked New England to cover. I don't know. I didn't watch much of Miami's game last week, so
and neither
them off. But what I have watched of them this week, I feel like they're clicking on all cylinders by any means. And
I predict Tyreek has a resurgence.
I've liked what I've seen from Drake May, as I've said multiple times. So I think New England covers but loses. And then moving to the 4:00 window, the 6-5 Broncos take on the 2-8 Raiders. Broncos favored by 5.5. Coming off that big win, I think they cover that one easily. Although Denver has yet to win a game in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's do it this week.
Yep. First time.
Yep.
It's the first time for everything. So
yeah.
I think it comes this week.
I got them covering too. I like the Broncos. They are looking good.
Yep.
And then we got the 5-5 49ers coming into Titletown to take on the 7-3 Packers. Packers favored by 2.5. I think they cover that. Like I said, regular season, LaFleur owns Shanahan. Also, I forgot to look more into it. Sounds like maybe Bosa out for a little bit with that non-contact tweak of something. So especially if he's out, their defense isn't very scary. So I think Green Bay covers that.
Agreed. I had originally picked San Francisco to win, but with Bosa out, Kittle still questionable.
Sure. Bosa's been a non-factor against the Packers, I think, every time they've played. So he's I'm not too worried about him anyways. Bakhtiari used to handle him, and then Zach Tom has had no issues handling him either. So even if he plays, I'm not too concerned, but especially if he doesn't, Love will have all day.
Yeah. I was really hoping that San Fran would be favored in this one because I like betting
that would be
plus odds.
Bet. Yeah.
Plus odds on teams that I don't want to win. Mm-hmm. So then at least if they win, I make it decent payout. But yeah, I think Green Bay wins by 4 to 6 probably.
Green Bay by 30.
And then we have the last game of the afternoon slate, the 6-4 Cardinals taking on the 5-5 Seahawks for first place in the division, most likely.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about tiebreakers, but Seattle favored by 1 in that one. Actually flipped since the line first came out. Arizona was favored by 1. Not sure why it flipped.
No,
maybe just the way that Seattle played against San Fran, but
on the plus side, better for betting because I think Arizona wins that.
Agreed.
Kyler's been playing so well, and Geno just had a good game, so by rule he can't have another one.
Plus Arizona coming off the bye week.
Yeah,
off a week of rest. I think an extra week to prepare for a divisional opponent.
Yeah. And then
I think Arizona wins by a field goal or so.
Yeah. By more than 1. Oh wait, that's the opposite of the line. They
also
win by more than -1.
Not a bold prediction to say they win by more than 1.
That was what the line was, so I was just being a smart aleck. And then we've got the 8-2 Eagles going to SoFi to take on the 5-5 Rams. Philly favored by 3. I think Philly wins. They're playing hot.
I think it's a close game.
Yeah,
I like what I've seen from the Rams lately, but Philly playing
win and cover.
Playing quite well. So yeah, I also had Philly winning and covering.
Mm-hmm.
Although I would not be shocked if the Rams
pulled
out a win, and I wouldn't be upset either because it put a little bit more gap between the Lions, Clinton first round bye, and Eagles sitting in the 2 spot right now. So I guess tied with the Vikings. That takes us to the final game of the week. I'll wait for you to get off your
fucking
alert.
Go.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted me to.
You're the one talking.
I couldn't ask you and not just so I might as well wait.
No, you're good.
Which takes us stop. And
collaborate and listen.
And that takes us to the final game of the week. The 7-4 Ravens traveling to
I'm leaving all
SoFi.
of that in.
Another I don't know why I keep noticing this. Another back-to-back night games at SoFi.
Oh, I noticed that when I was doing the picks.
I said something about the janitorial staff.
Uh-huh. I had the same thought when I was going through the picks. I saw back-to-back at SoFi, and I was like, oh, another big night for the janitorial staff.
Yeah.
Because I remember you said that last time.
But yeah, traveling to LA to take on the 7-3 Chargers. Baltimore favored by 3. I have them winning and covering, but again, another one I wouldn't be surprised at.
Sure.
An upset. Chargers playing very well.
I think that the Chargers do upset them.
Okay. Might be a little bit of a heart pick. Just Chargers being in the Broncos division.
Oh, sure. It's so close, though, so it's just like, I don't know who to pick. I feel like that's more of a pick-em game than a favored by 3 game.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Especially at LA.
Yeah. So, no,
but Baltimore coming off a loss, maybe.
But Baltimore having the worst pass defense in the league, and Mr. Herbie playing so well. I think that.
Why didn't you tell me that before I made my pick?
Oh, well,
Why didn't you
sorry.
say that?
Next time I'll give you all my insights. But yeah, I think that the Chargers improved to 8-3 and kind of
any chance they make a push for the division or no?
You know what? Just because I want to say it, yes. I think if
I remember right, I think the Chiefs have a pretty cake schedule the rest of the way, though.
Well, they've got the Chargers at least once.
Okay.
They've also got Denver. Maybe Denver can help the Chargers out a little bit.
Yeah. Or help themselves.
I know you don't. Well, that too. I know you don't like them, but also it's only hurting the Chiefs, so you might as well want them to help them out.
I like them more than I like the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And like Harbaugh.
No. So. I like the Chargers and I like the Broncos. I'm not super devout to either of them, so
yeah,
I don't have to hate the other. But yeah, I think maybe they do make a push.
Okay.
That would be so, bro. That'd be so sick.
That'd be nice
to see the Chiefs second. See them have to play a wild card.
Yeah.
If they've not been a 1 seed, first round bye, I think they were always a 1 or 2. Or was it they always have home games? I forget what it was. There was some stat. I don't know if it was the last year or the year before where, like, every year he's been there, they've had either home playoff games or the first round bye. I don't remember what it was. Not this year.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Although we don't want them having excuses when they lose.
I don't care.
But as long as they lose,
make excuses. That's what losers do.
Fair enough.
Now it's time to dive into the Hooked Hierarchy, the part of the pod where we unveil our top 10 NFL squads, ranking teams based on performances, stats, and maybe a little bias. Who's rising to the top and who's slipping down the ranks. Get ready for some heated debates and some surprising picks as we break down the best of the best.
I have a feeling there's going to be some movement in our power rankings this week, so let's dive right into it.
That's what I was going to say.
Who do you have at number 10?
Number 10? You like this? I got the Denver Broncos. It was hard. These bottom, like I don't know, 9 through 12, was real difficult. But I ended up with Broncos at 10. Bo is making like big time throws. Like a lot of those throws he was making Sunday were like elite passer type throws.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call him an elite passer yet, but he was making those throws, and I kind of hope he keeps doing it. That'd be fun. Defense is great, obviously, and they had their way with Atlanta, so I got them up at 10.
Okay. I could not find a way to get them into my top 10. I really wanted to move a couple of these teams out, but at my number 10, I had the Rams. I actually predict that they win their division. Stafford, I've kind of said all this before, but Stafford playing well. Got a big 3 of Kyren, Puka, and Kupp. So.
Yeah, I struggle with Stafford, especially the last couple of years, because like he has those games like he just had Sunday, but then his games were it's like what the heck, dude? And I feel like there's too many of those for me to feel really good about them, like winning a division or making a playoff push, a deep playoff push. So they didn't make it into mine yet.
Okay. At my number 9, I had the Vikings. This is one of the teams I wanted to move out, but 8-2 record. Felt like they deserve to be in there. I don't even know what it is about them. It's kind of hard to put my finger on it, but I really don't believe in this team. But every aspect of their team seems at least fairly solid.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Besides offensive weapons.
I got rid of them.
Ooh.
Felt good.
Yeah, like their offensive weapons are elite. Jones, Jefferson, Edison, Hawkinson. Even if not each of those is elite on their own, that's pretty elite weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had them at number 9.
Maybe it was my biases getting rid of them, but they were one of the ones right there.
And they haven't looked great.
But who has looked great, my number 9, the Cardinals. They who did they?
They had a bye week this week.
They had a bye week. Yeah. That's why I was like, they did not just play the Jets. But 2 weeks ago, they looked really good. And in normal fashion, I just kind of left them where they were because of the bye. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we got Cards at 9. My number 8, I got the Chargers up in there now. Herbert playing so well. He had his first turnover since week 2.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. Saying that out loud makes me feel like I got that stat wrong, but that's definitely what I read.
It's a wild stat.
Yeah.
Impressive.
He had that rough stretch when the Chargers tried to charge her, but figured it out and ended up icing the game there for him when they needed to win. So, yep, I got them at 8.
My number 8 was the Cardinals. Bye week this week. Slim lead in their division. They have a fairly soft schedule rest of the way.
Yeah.
3 division games left, though. 2 versus Seattle and 1 versus the Rams. So they more or less hold their destiny in their own hands.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like you said, Kyler playing really well. And then at number 7, I had the Chargers. Herbert finally living up to his potential.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, finally has a good coach. And then Quentin Johnston's been a pleasant surprise after he looked like a bust in year 1.
Yeah.
Dobbins finally healthy, as we mentioned before. Their defense is solid. They have a top-tier playmaker at every level. Bosa, Mack playing well again. Mm-hmm. And then Derwin James is a beast.
Yeah.
Had them at number 7, up 1 spot from last week.
Yeah. My number 7, I got the Commanders. I don't know if I should have left them so high. Yeah, I mean, they were hanging in there with another very good second-best team in the NFC. Mm-hmm. Really just fell apart at the end. So, I don't know. They just keep creeping their way down. I haven't dropped them a ton yet, but
yeah,
they just keep making their way down.
Actually, they dropped out of my top 10.
Did they?
2 losses in a row. Before that, squeaked out 2 wins against the Giants and the Bears. So, not been a great 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like I said, once I was reading it out loud, didn't feel as good, but I had moved them down 1 or 2 spots. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But that's about it there. Then and then at 6, I got the Baltimore Ravens. They couldn't do really anything against Pittsburgh. They were struggling offensively, and that was their only strength. So, seeing that there's defenses that can take away their one and only thing, mm-hmm. Makes them not look as threatening, especially later on. So,
yeah,
obviously still a good team, but
right,
but that was a rough loss.
Yep. Yep. I also had the Ravens at number 6. They've been somewhat inconsistent. Feel like they should be feeding Henry more than they have last at least few weeks.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird situation where Lamar's been MVP, or at least an MVP conversation, and like you don't want them to be too dependent on him.
Right.
Yeah, it was a tough division matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if they still made it further than the Steelers, but obviously with the Steelers getting the win, you got to put them above them.
Sure.
In the power rankings in my mind. But they all will have a chance at a rebuttal because they play again this season. So
yeah,
see what happens there. Moving on to number 5, had the Steelers. I finally admit they look like a serious contender.
Mm-hmm.
Just very well balanced team. Another one of those teams where nothing's really elite, but nothing terrible either.
Oh, Watt.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's pretty elite.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean like specific players.
No, sure.
Like
I know what you're saying.
Offense, defense, special teams. Although Boswell, he's a stud.
Had 35 field goals made that game.
Yeah, he might be. He's one of the top kickers in the league. So
yeah, there was a friggin' Burrow throws for 9 touchdowns total against Ravens and can't win, and Steelers didn't score a single touchdown and won.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I also liked how they responded to the Russell Wilson. That interception in the end zone was terrible, but they responded and didn't let it get them down or affect their game plan. So
sure.
I was impressed by that.
I too had the Steelers at number 5. Everything that we just said. My number 4, I had the Philadelphia Eagles. Had a real slow start, like we've already talked about a bunch of times, and then put up 20 in the fourth quarter. So all around, they're pretty great. I'm not sure what was going on the first few quarters of that game, but yeah, definitely looking like they're the second best team in the conference.
Yep. Do you think they're the second best team in the NFL?
No, they would be at my number 2 spot if I did.
Not necessarily.
No, I don't.
Because I don't think you feel like the Packers are outside the top. Do you think they're worse than top 10 team in the NFL, or
Packers?
Or only outside of your top 10 power rankings? I'm assuming you don't have them at 1, 2, 3.
Oh no, I have them in 1.
Okay.
I guess that's tough. After the last few weeks, I don't have a ton of faith. I think that they could change that,
turn it around
in the next week or two, even. But right now, I wouldn't feel good about any of these games if they were playing any of these teams.
Fair.
I would be nervous.
Yep.
I guess really, this just kind of confirms that I have the Commanders at the wrong spot. I don't feel too bad about that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Commanders probably shouldn't have been in there. I fucked up.
Were we on to my number 4?
Yeah, I think that was about all I was saying about them.
Okay. I also have the Eagles at number 4.
Is our top 6 going to be the same?
I think it might be.
Uh-oh.
It has to be.
Yeah,
But yeah, big divisional win for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Took control of the division. Well-balanced team.
Yeah.
Not too much else to say about them, but
nope.
Number 3, Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Can't have them ahead of the Bills because they just lost.
Yep.
And Lions are number 1.
I wanted to move them further down, but
yeah, same. I tried, but couldn't get there.
Yep.
Still own the 1 seed in the AFC. It was their first loss since Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And they've lost to Buffalo in the regular season before, so it doesn't change too much how I feel about them. I already felt like they weren't world beaters like we've talked about. They've gotten away with too many, but also good teams find ways to win, and they've done that most of the season. So
Mahomes is, overall, last 2 seasons, he's bad. Yeah. Like, looking at stats, last year, I don't even remember exactly what it was. It was like 27 touchdowns and like 12 picks or something like that. This year, on pace for even worse. He obviously still has the magic when they need it, like the Tampa Bay overtime. So, like, he's still got that. But as far as everything else, he's damn near pedestrian. Yep. He's not productive. Like, as far as production, like yards, touchdowns, he's right on pace with all of the guys we shit on all the year, like the Daniel Joneses, and he turns the ball over far more than any of the elite guys are right now. So no, I was weird as it sounds, he might be their weakness, but also the only reason they'll win.
Yeah.
It's as weird as...
Strange.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
But I understand what you mean.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously, I too had them at 3. So, number 2, the Detroit Lions.
Carolina
Just
Panthers.
kidding. Just want to see what you would... Your reaction if I would say that.
You're free to be wrong.
The Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, he played pretty well. Had that costly pick, but didn't end up costing him too much. Other than that, Buffalo pretty much dominated all phases. There was maybe only that moment, and I think we both had said something about how that was going to cost him the game or whatever, but didn't end up. Other than that, like the game, I was like, Buffalo got this.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Same reason we kept the Chiefs so high all this time. Don't play perfect and still find a way to win.
Yep.
Bills did that
against the team that is doing that.
Back-to-back champs. Yeah. So, yep, had them at number 2 also. Then obviously Lions at number 1.
Yeah.
Been the most consistent. They don't play down to their competition.
No.
Their
golf bounce back game.
Their loss and their 2 close games were against good teams, or at least teams with good records.
Sure.
They faced quite a bit of adversity with injuries and
they just
the
keep
5 interception
dominating.
game, but just keep pushing through.
Yeah.
Plus, it feels like they can win almost any type of game that they need to.
Yep.
Run game and defense travel, and they have both this year.
Finally, favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, which I don't like.
No.
Just like all the love that they're getting, and then them being Super Bowl favorites, just I don't know.
Never affected the Chiefs.
Yeah, fair. But
so if they're really champions, it's not going to affect them.
We shall find out.
Well, if it does, not champions. If it does, they're the... What year was that? 2015? Packers went like 15-1. Looked so good, and then I think it was a divisional round. Got knocked out.
49ers?
It was either them. It was either them or the Cardinals. It's always been a red team since I've been watching them. It's always a red team that knocks them out. At
least it's not the Cowboys.
Cardinals, Tampa, or Cowboys. Cowboys.
That's funny.
Come on. So, no, obviously, I feel like by far favorites for Super Bowl. They're
wild times we're living in.
Yeah, they're on a
even 4 years ago. If you had told anybody that they'd be as good as they are now, be the clear number 1 and Super Bowl favorite.
I feel like this is the biggest that I can think of separation between best team and then second best team, like at least how it appears.
Yeah.
They're just somehow, even with how he's been playing, Goff is their weakness.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be all right unless...
I think most knowledgeable football fans feel that way, that Goff's their weakness, and he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
And obviously in that system...
If you were ever like, I need to go win a Super Bowl, what quarterback do I need? It would absolutely never, ever be Goff unless somehow all the other dudes died. But, I looks like they might be able to do it this year. Be good for all those old dude, long-time Lions fans. #dad.
Yeah.
66, never seen him be good.
Been a long time coming. Never even made a Super Bowl.
Nope. But, that...
that'll about do it.
That'll do her. So, like we said before, like, comment, subscribe, share it. Go check us out on Spotify. Check us out on Apple Podcast. Some of you requested Apple Podcast, but no one has listened on there. Whoever you guys were, you're probably not listening to this either. They probably just lied to you. But that's where we are. We're all those places. And yeah, we'll see you next week.